guys, today we're going to be using our milk tea powder, some tapioca, and transforming them into cookies. Alright, so these milk tea cookies are super interesting. The base is a very solid chocolate chip cookie base, and I added milk tea powder to these cookies so that they actually taste like milk tea, and they also have the tapioca pearls inside. So when we break into them, look at that. They are nice, soft, fluffy, moist, absolutely delicious. And if we chomp into one, I want one with pearls in it. It's actually very confusing for my brain because there's the flavor of milk tea, and then Tessa wants some. She came running when she heard me eating. There's a flavor of milk tea. It's a flavor that you usually drink, so it's weird to comprehend. And then there is the texture of the tapioca pearls that we love so much at the bottom of those pearl milk tea drinks. So you actually get both of that in this cookie. I'm super excited to show you how I made them. Here's what we're going to need for our boba milk tea cookies today. We're going to need all-purpose flour, some tapioca pearls. I can get these at my local Asian grocer, but if you can't get them where you are, I will link you to some Amazon options. A little bit of brown sugar on the side to mix with your pearls after they're done cooking, some brown sugar for the cookies, some granulated white sugar for the cookies, baking powder, baking soda, salt, eggs, melted and cooled butter over here. You don't want it too hot, but you do want it liquefied. I just do this in bursts in the microwave. And last but very important is powdered milk tea. So these are the brands that I like and that I have access to. If you can't have access to a local Asian grocer in order to obtain these, I've linked some that I've found on Amazon that I think are also delicious. For all the measurements of what you're going to need, please visit my blog so that you can see them in text form and print it out if you want. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is cook and cool the boba pearls. You're going to let that water boil, and just you can see how the bubbles have started to appear and it's gently simmering. This is when you want to throw in all of your boba at once, and very quickly using a slotted spoon you're going to give it a stir so that they don't stick to the bottom of the bowl. This is crazy important. Sorry, that they don't stick to the bottom of the pot. So you want to do this like you're poaching eggs so that when you drop them in they don't immediately sink and stick them. So I like to create like a vortex with my slotted spoon, creating a vortex, and here are my boba pearls. And you want to use about a 1-to-4 ratio, so if you have a cup of boba, you want to put it in about 4 cups of simmering water. So I'm stirring, creating a vortex, dropping them in at once and giving it a quick stir so that they don't stick to the bottom. And then you're going to set your timer for 15 minutes and let it gently simmer. And you're going to give it a stir every once in a while so that they don't stick to each other as well. So now they're boiling nicely. We're actually going to turn the heat down just a little bit to a medium so that they don't boil over. And just let them keep doing their thing. You're looking for a gentle boil, not like a vigorous simmer, so that's why I turned the heat down right there. So the only way that you know for sure that the tapioca balls are done is if you try one. So if we pick one out of its very hot molten lava boiling state, okay, so they're actually done and they've been kind of at that low broil for about 12 minutes. I'm gonna drain them, take them out, dump them into brown sugar so that they start absorbing some of that sweetness. If you like them more done, you can boil them some more, but I would err on the side of under boiling rather than over boiling, so that when you bake them they get like a little more done, if that makes sense. And here's where the part where some people like to actually let it kind of steam for a little while. I just take them right out. I like my balls a little more firm. The tapioca balls are done at this point. I've stopped the burner, and now I'm going to take them out and drain them just using a slotted spoon, getting rid of that extra moisture and dumping it in a couple tablespoons of brown sugar. You don't have to be very precise here, but you also don't want too much brown sugar, so about 2 tablespoons for every cup of boba seems to work well. Alright, I'm going to set this aside and grab a spoon and just mix up all that brown sugar into your tapioca balls. Set it aside and let it cool for a little while you prep your cookie dough. Alright, so for the milk tea cookies, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put your sugars as well as all of your milk tea mixes into a bowl. And you don't need a stand mixer for this recipe. Just good old arm power. I'll tell you just about how much of the mix I ended up putting in total. It just depends on how strong your mix is. I put in 4 packs, which is going to be about 4 ounces, maybe a little bit more. Again, the measurements are going to be below in my blog. So sugars, milk tea powder, salt, baking soda, baking powder in. First thing we're going to do is throw that melted but slightly cooled butter in there. Some of it has re-solidified, that's okay. It's been sitting for about half an hour. And we are just going to give it a good mix. You can kind of tell it looks already like milk tea colored. And of course it might be the brown sugar. Okay, just about when you've incorporated most of it, you're going to go grab your eggs. This is 1 whole egg and an egg yolk for added fat. And you're going to combine that. Just break it all up. And you want it to look like a caramel almost. And grainy is okay. That's just the milk tea mix and sugar. So once your mixture looks like grainy caramel, you are ready to add your flour as well as your boba pearls. You should sift your flour if you've got some big lumps in it, but if it looks okay, just go ahead and pour it all in at once and incorporate it using your spatula. We'll get this nicely incorporated before we add our boba pearls. When most of your flour has been nicely incorporated, go ahead and add in your pearls. I feel like adding boba pearls is like adding chocolate chips to a chocolate chip cookie recipe. You measure with your heart. This was about a cup of pearls, maybe a little bit more. I'm going to start with most of it and then maybe I will have a snack shortly. I'm going to fold it in and just see how this looks, and if I feel like it needs more pearls, I will add the rest in. You know what? I think I'm just going to add the rest of it in. You don't have to mix too much, or I'm just going to add maybe 2 more spoonfuls so I don't eat too much boba. And once you've incorporated most of it, you are good to go. A little bit of flour on the side is no problem. We're going to scoop them, put them in the fridge, let the dough rest before we bake them. Now that the dough is done, we're getting ready to portion out and let our dough rest in the fridge or freezer. I like to use a 1/4 cup scoop. This is a 4 tablespoon scoop. I will link it in my blog post as well as my Amazon shop. And these are portioned so that I can bake 6 on a half sheet tray. And the cookies come out to be a bit larger than these circles here, which are 12 per tray, because I feel like this is the perfect size cookie. So I just kind of do 6 like that. So the way I like to scoop is to put as much in the scoop as possible, press it in firmly with my hand, so that it is well compacted. Drop it on the sheet. Push down on it so that you can feel the pressure of the dough coming back at you, and squeeze to release. I feel like that way we get the cleanest scoops and everything comes out. So I'm just gonna keep scooping the rest of them, cover them up. I'm gonna freeze them. That really helps develop the flavor of the cookie, and it also preserves the texture of the tapioca balls so that they are nice and chewy after the bake. All right, so we're done scooping. You're just going to grab some plastic wrap, lay it over your cookie dough, and put this into the freezer. And I like to minimally freeze it for about 6 hours before I bake. All right, guys, so there is one caveat to this whole cookie recipe, and it's really the texture and the integrity of the tapioca balls as you store them. They are very difficult to store. If you've ever had tapioca balls in your drinks, they get mushy over certain hours, and if you leave them till the next day, they are complete mush. If you leave them out with no liquid encasing them, they completely dry out. And it's no exception for when tapioca balls are baked into cookies. So the best way to enjoy them is fresh on the day of. If you leave them out for 24 hours, just at room temperature, uncovered, the tapioca balls do dry out. So the reason why I like to have the dough frozen is so that I can kind of bake cookies on demand. And if I'm giving them away that day of, I ask people to enjoy them on that day. So that would be my only kind of downside or negative with this cookie recipe. So as you can tell, the frozen pearls kind of look like they have a layer of frost over them. That's totally normal, totally okay. As they bake, they will come back to the dark black color. All right, so look at these guys cooking in the oven. They rise and then they will fall a bit as they cool. And you'll know that they're done when they get a little bit golden brown on the edges and the middle of them start to puff. Because these are a little wet when it comes to cookie batter, it might take a few extra minutes to cook than your usual chocolate chip cookies. Cookies have just come out of the oven and they are nice and puffy. They will deflate a little bit when they cool. Here's a pro tip. If you want to round out the shapes, grab a larger cookie cutter, and when they come right out of the oven, give them a nice swirl. That way they will round out nicely. Are you gonna sit? I'm sorry you don't get a cookie today. You look real cute though. I hope you guys had fun watching me make these Milk Tea Boba cookies, and I really hope that you give it a try at home on your own. If you've made them already, give me a comment below and tell me how it went. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if there are things you'd love to see us make, bake, cook, whatever in the future, drop me a comment and let me know, and we'll try to make it happen. Have a good one. Bye. I hope you guys had fun making me, oh my God. Do you want it? Really? Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go. Oh, what do you think? It's right there. It's on the chair.